Welcome back to Writing and Reading the Declaration of Independence. In this talk, we're going to be looking at the Middlesex Petition of 1769. When we were talking about the Stamp Tax Act, we saw that one of the main objections to it was its unconstitutionality. The colonists had no representation in the House of Commons. Representation was a central concern not only of the colonists, but of all Englishmen. And in 1769, in the county of Middlesex, the freeholders had become so frustrated by what they saw as their lack of representation that they wrote a petition to the Crown. Middlesex was like Boston in that it was the home of Republican activists, people who staunchly defended their rights under a constitutional monarchy. Their petition was reprinted in colonial newspapers, and its resemblance to the later and more blunt writings of Jefferson is, I think, not a mere coincidence. Let's look and see what it said. The good people of Middlesex started out their petition saying, "We humbly implore your paternal attention to those grievances of which this county and the whole nation complain, in those fearful apprehensions with which the whole British Empire is most justly alarmed." There you see, they're talking about the colonies. Now, they go on to say that there are some evil-minded persons who want to upset the harmony and confidence that should exist between the king and his people. And then they say, "For this disaffected purpose, they have introduced into every part of the administration of our happy legal constitution a certain unlimited and indefinite discretionary power," that is, they could act outside the law, "to prevent which is the sole aim of all our laws. For our ancestors, by their own fatal experience, well knew that in a state where discretion begins, law, liberty, and safety end." The introduction is followed by a list of grievances, some of which are very similar to the ones that Jefferson was to include in the Declaration of Independence. The conclusion could just as well have been found in colonial newspapers. "We are ready to lay down our lives and fortunes for your Majesty's service and for the Constitution as by law established. We have waited patiently expecting a constitutional remedy by the means of our own representatives, but our legal and free choice having been repeatedly rejected, we see ourselves deprived even of the franchises of Englishmen, reduced to the most abject state of slavery, and left without hopes or means of redress but from your Majesty or God." So there you see the use of the word slavery, which was so popular amongst the colonists. We already saw what Colonel Barré said in Parliament, and now we see what is in the Middlesex Petition. There wasn't much of a distance between this and what was being said in the colonies.